Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. All right, what's going on? It's Matt with the DPI podcast. Welcome to Tuesday night DPI Live. We are going to have some fun tonight. We have a new segment, and then we are going to get into week one of our Deciphering D23 Expo, or whatever you want to call it. We are going to dig deep into the details of D23 and really talk about what we took away from the announcements, what's been released as far as concept art and all that kind of stuff, and then kind of where we feel like these are going to fit into the parks, and do we have an idea of when construction is going to get going. So before I get there, a couple of thank yous. First off, thank you everybody for watching videos over on the YouTube channel. We just hit 250,000 views, 250,000 views, which is really, really awesome. Thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate that. Glad that you guys all like or at least consume the content that we create, because we don't do this necessarily for us. We do it to help people out, whether it's getting enjoyment out of the parks when you're not there, learning about how to planning trips, just everything that we do, we try and do for the enjoyment of others. So thank you very much. Also, a lot of new subscribers, so I'm going to go ahead and get through these. Felipe, I think I talked about you last week, but Felipe Flores, thank you for joining the channel. Awesome to have you. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button. Alejandra Sandoval, again, thank you for hitting that subscribe button and joining the channel. Very much appreciated. Every subscriber means the world to us, and if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out and let us know. Beth Zabe Baron, thank you for hitting that subscribe button and joining the channel. Very much appreciate it. And last but not least, this week, Amber Sunny, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Again, like I said, thank you guys very much. That gets us to about 455 subs for the channel, about 55 for this year, so that's pretty awesome. Our goal this year is to get to 500 subs, and that was a big boost. 18 in the last month has been a huge boost, so thank you guys all for subscribing to the channel. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, just want to see something on the channel, reach out to us through the comment page. Go over to our Twitter account at Disney Insights over on Twitter/X, whatever you call it now, and you can reach out and talk to us there. So thank you guys all very much. So real quick, let's get into the news. We'll do a 15-minute timer real quick and jump into that. But we do have some news that I want to get to, and some of it's pretty cool on the cruise line side. So let's go ahead, let's jump into the news, and then we will get into Walt Disney World's D23 announcements. All right, and I think all of those subscribers are going to come back across, so thank you guys all very much for subscribing again. Yep, here they all come. So while it's beeping, let's go ahead, let's get to the start of last week's news and talk a little bit about the announcement of the TEA and ACOM's Global Attraction Attendance Report. Top 20 theme parks in North America, no surprise. Magic Kingdom, Disneyland Park, Epcot, Disney Hollywood Studios, Universal Islands of Adventures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty easy to see. 6 was Disney California Adventure. 7 was Universal Studios Florida. 8 was Universal Studios Hollywood. 9 was Animal Kingdom. 10 was SeaWorld. So SeaWorld was the first one that was outside of that Disney Universal realm. Big numbers, but in the scheme of things, not great numbers. So Magic Kingdom up 3.4%, Disneyland up 2.2%, Epcot up 19.8%. Epcot's up big because the construction walls are finally down, and when you have Guardians and Moana opening, it's going to help. Hollywood Studios was down 5.5%. Universal Islands of Adventures down 9.3%. Disneyland California Adventure was up 11.1%. And then Universal Studios Florida was down 9.3%. So, what does this mean? It means attendance is coming back, but it's not at the levels it was pre-pandemic. And even at the levels that it was a couple of years ago. You had everybody kind of getting back into the parks in 2022, and now stuff is going to start the slide again after that peak and the revenge travel and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to see, and I think Disney's kind of planning on this, we're going to see a lull over the next 2 to 3 years or so. And I think that's what this reinvigoration of energy into the American parks is from Disney. They are going to have to combat what's going to happen at Universal next year. And then kind of deal with how do we bring lower crowds after we get that huge surge at Universal. How do we deal with lower crowds for probably the next 2 or 3 years? So we're going to talk about a lot of the things that are coming from there. Updated Coco show is coming to Plaza de la Familia at Disney California Adventure this fall. So they had a Coco show last year for the Halloween season. They are bringing it back. It's going to be updated. Good deal. 2024 Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. All of the August dates are now sold out. More dates are selling fast. So what's going to happen is, as people realize the timeline on this construction and realize that it's going to be, getting close to the last time to ride Dinosaur, the last time to ride... I'm not going to say anything else because they'll ruin later. But the last time to ride some of these rides that may be closing or may be completely going away... for construction, during construction, and then maybe not returning after construction, I think you're going to see a little bit of an uptick of that FOMO that they don't want to miss the last time that they can do their ride. Universal Orlando announces an all-new dining card vacation package that includes food and beverage dining card up to $1,000 for travel from November 7th to April 10th, 2025. I think this is really, really telling. What this tells me doing travel is Epic isn't going to open before probably April 10th, before middle of May. You're going to get a good 6 weeks of cast member previews, of annual pass holder previews, of media previews, all that kind of stuff before they open Epic up to everybody else. So this is probably getting you up to when about those previews will start. So depending on the hotel and depending on the length of your stay, these dining packages range anywhere from about $300 to $1,000. And they've got a table on the website that kind of shows you, if you stay at this hotel for this number of nights, it shows you what you would get on that dining package. And it's a card per room, so lots going on there. I responded to a lot of things over the last week. This morning, Disneyland Paris announced that Disney Junior Dream Factory will be closing permanently on August 31st. Dream Factory was a really, really fun show based off of some of the Disney Junior IPs over at Disneyland Paris. 3 years that it ran over in their Studios Park. There is a retheme of the theater and refacing of the theater that is going to happen with the change to the Disney Adventure World theming, and the show just isn't coming back. So sad to see, because that's one thing that I really think that Paris did really well with limited space, is they had some really top end entertainment there. Between that and Mickey and the Magician and the Lion King show and the Frozen show, and then you've got a Stitch show that's like the Crush show here. So lots of fun. Hey T-Mac, thanks for subscribing, bud. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. So just a lot of good quality shows when we think about the Disney property over in Paris. And it really kind of counters the lack of shows that's in their Disneyland park. Their Disneyland park, might have had one of the best parades that Disney's ever put together, but didn't have a whole lot of shows when it came to that kind of stuff. Their Studios Park did, and they were really good, so sad to see that go. Let's see here. We have Epcot Festival of the Holidays being announced, and it is going to be running November 29th through December the 30th. So Epcot Festival of the Holidays, kind of a short little celebration over in Epcot. But what's really cool about this festival is the cookie stroll is really cool. But you kind of get a little bit of flavor from each of the country pavilions as you walk around World Showcase, which is really, really nice. So after Thanksgiving up until just about the first of the year, lots of stuff going on. So yeah, take advantage of that if you're going to be out there. And then the Candlelight Processional is also going to return in 2024. So we'll get announcements on who is going to be presenting on those for those dates. So as soon as we see a list there, we'll let you guys know the highlights of that. Over on Disney Plus, we have The Acolyte, so the new Star Wars series that they put on, kind of pre-Jedi and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Paz, what's going on over on Twitch? Haven't seen you in a while. If you're looking for some Lorcana stuff, we probably going to be doing some on Sunday morning, if you want to check that out. But thanks for dropping in and saying hi. So The Acolyte was kind of depicting what was going on 100 years before Return of the Jedi in that kind of initial trilogy. And there was a lot of turmoil between the creative director and some of her views, and she got let go, and all of those projects kind of got canned, and The Acolyte ended up being one of them. Personally, I enjoyed The Acolyte. Has it been my favorite Disney Plus Star Wars series? Not close. But it was a good series. It filled time. We watched every episode. So was kind of okay with that. Yeah. So there's that. The last thing I think I'm going to get to, no, Disney Springs wrongful death lawsuit. So Raglan Road had a patient pass away from a food allergy at the restaurant. The family has sued Disney, even though Raglan Road is not a Disney entity, I guess you can say. Disney is going to let the proceedings continue, so that what the quote goes, "We are deeply saddened by the family's loss and understand their grief." Disney said in a statement on Wednesday, "For the first time, the company has commented on the situation. Given the restaurant is neither owned nor operated by Disney, we are merely defending ourselves against the plaintiff's attorney's attempts to include us in their lawsuits against the restaurant." There was going to be an arbitration hearing. They decided to waive arbitration and just let it go to court. Disney probably on the higher ground here, with Raglan Road being an independent contractor there, but we'll see. So yeah, last thing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over to my other screen. So I'm going to move some things around real quick because I want to put this up full screen. So Singapore is getting one of the new ships, and that decided it wanted to go before I wanted it to go. Singapore is getting one of the new ships in Disney Cruise Lines, and one of the things that has been a big deal about this ship is the ship was almost done by this Chinese company, and it was going to be a casino boat, and then they just kind of scrapped the plan and the ship just sat there. Well, Disney bought the ship, and probably at a significant discount, and decided, hey, we're just going to retrofit this ship in Singapore. Well, we got the Disney renderings of how they felt like the ship was going to turn out. Well, now the company that is operating the ship out of Singapore has put out their own video of this, and I've got it over here. So let me pop over to that screen, and we can take a look at that. Let's see if I've got a good one here. Screen capture, boom. Let's take a look at this. Kind of cuts there. 30 seconds left, so we'll just let it get to 30 seconds. All right. So yeah, so that really cool look. Now, what was interesting to me is that whole area that they just did that fly-through of looks like it's open air. Because if you look up to the top of the screen, you can see the smokestacks. So that's kind of a cool little feature there, that might be a whole open air area through the middle of that ship with Mowgli's, with the garden, with the painting of the castle. So really, really cool. So that's the news for this week. As we do every week, we try and devote 15 minutes to the news. Now we're going to get into kind of the D23 Expo part of the show. So let me go over and let's get to that screen, and then we will start talking a little bit about that. All right. So D23, lots of announcements at D23. Tonight's show, we're going to focus on the announcements for Magic Kingdom, and I thought, or for Walt Disney World, and I thought a good place to start would actually not even be at Magic Kingdom. I think it's going to be over at Hollywood Studios. So Hollywood Studios, it got announced that Hollywood Studios is getting a Monsters Inc. area. I don't know if it's going to be a full land, but it's definitely going to be an area with a ride. So one of the pieces of concept art that they released was this picture of the coaster, the Doors coaster, with Mike and Sully, and a suspended coaster at that, which looks really, really cool. So if you have seen the original Monsters Inc., you know the Doors scene where they're trying to escape from Randall and get Boo back to her door and get her back to the human world. Well, this coaster is going to take you through that selection of doors, and maybe have Mike and Sully next to you or something like that, like the Kong ride. But yeah, so that was one of the initial concepts, and going from there, let's move this over here so you guys don't have to see that. We got this concept art here, and this concept art is of the actual land itself. So we've got the big Monsters Inc. building, and if we zoom in here, it's the saying, "It's laughter we're after." Couple other things that we've noticed in this drawing is there is a Sully slide over here. So there could be a playground feature that is part of this area that hasn't been in Hollywood Studios for a while. And then there's some buildings off to the other side, which we'll get to those here in a second. You get down here, it looks like there's a CDA vehicle with some of the CDA agents in their yellow suits. There's Mike and Sully there for a meet and greet, maybe a little water feature there in the middle. So a lot of cool things in this concept here. So the last piece of concept art from the Monsters Inc. area is a little bit tighter in, and there's the building that we see there, but this gives us a little more of an idea of where this could possibly be. And a lot of people are keying on this element right here, which is this water tower. That water tower is actually next to Pizza Rizzo. And if you put this at Pizza Rizzo, that means that this building now takes the place of Muppet Vision 3D. And not only Muppet Vision 3D, but it could also take the place of the Christmas shop, the Muppets gift shop, the Mama Melrose restaurant, and a lot of things that are back in that corner of the park. The other thing that we noticed on this is there is Harryhausen's, the restaurant that Mike and his girlfriend go to after Sully breaks the record. So could we be getting a Harryhausen's restaurant in this Hollywood Studios area? Possibly. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could happen here. Now, the other area that's being considered, I think, for this and being speculated is the dead end at the end of now, I think they're calling it Animation Plaza, where Frozone will meet, where Edna Mode will meet. It was the old entrance to the Midway Mania, Toy Story Midway Mania, before Toy Story Land opened and rerouted that entrance over into Toy Story Land at the end of that area. But there just doesn't seem to be enough space to put a building the size of the building that they would need to put a full suspended roller coaster in. So this is the Monsters Inc. area. And I think this was one of the biggest surprises when it came to the announcements at D23. So I think that's a pretty big start. I'm going to clear some of these out because they just open up one after one after one. Let's see here. Nothing over there. Cool. Going from there, let's talk a little bit about what's going in over at Epcot. So Epcot, we did get the announcement that Test Track 3.0 is going to be open next year. So a 2025 open for Test Track. We also got the announcement of a lounge in Epcot. So let's go ahead and get back over to the concept screen here. And this lounge, by the visual that you get, is the lounge that was the old Siemens lounge up on top of Test Track, which will be kind of cool. So you can kind of see out into the World Showcase Lagoon and the new LED area behind Spaceship Earth, which looks like it's going to be just over to the right here. And then you can see the Imagination Pavilion and the Land Pavilion across the park on the other side here. So that puts it up in, like I said, the top of that Test Track building. So pretty high-end looking lounge. Seating, a few tables, a bar area. Pretty cool. Another thing that they're talking about opening in 2025. Now let's go over to Animal Kingdom. In Animal Kingdom, we got the Tropical Americas area coming to Animal Kingdom. And this has been something that has been talked about at D23s before. It is now a full-blown concept, and it is something that is a full go now. So we know from D23 now that this building right here is going to be the carousel, and it is going to feature carvings of animals from different Disney movies. At D23 this year, they had one of the actual horses, and I say that with air quotes because it was Kevin from Up that was carved. And I think this is going to be a really neat addition to this area. We're going to have a Latin Mexican restaurant here in this area here. As we get to the top of the drawing here, we have what was the dinosaur ride that is now going to be a rethemed New Story Indiana Jones ride. Now what you also see here is there is a whole little town that is conceptualized here, and that is going to be kind of in the same ilk as they built Harambe, just a town that fits the geographical area which they're depicting. And then the big announcement was, we can see over here, is the Encanto de Madrigal, and that is going to be or the Casa de Madrigal from Encanto, and that is going to be a slow moving ride where the furniture comes to life and guides you through the Casa de Madrigal as it gets ready for Antonio's gift celebration day. So yeah, so kind of figuring out what we're looking at here. You know, I think the big thing is down here at the bottom is where Nelly is right now, where that Brontosaurus is over the gate to Dino Land. And then we have this here would be kind of just past the Dino Dig area, Looks like we've got a few different restaurant options that are going to be offered, some gift shops, that kind of stuff. And then as we work our way this way, Theaters in the Wild will be over here, where you can see the new Finding Dory show. So the Finding Nemo and Finding Dory show. So yeah. So that is what is going in over at Animal Kingdom. I think that is going to be the largest project, and they said that they are going to do that in phases. And honestly, the phases are already starting. They have done permit filings for the construction kind of campus that they build, with all the trailers and that kind of stuff that's going to be outside of the park. So they're going to be probably shovels in ground, probably closing off areas, if not by the end of the year. I mean, if not sooner. I would say we're probably going to see movement on that relatively quick. And I would say you're probably going to see like the front half of this area done maybe by the end of next year. I don't know if they're going to open the whole area all at once. I doubt it. I think it's going to be phased in. I think we'll get like the front quarter of the area with the carousel, and then they'll close off like Dinosaur and redo that. And then the whole time they'll be working on the Encanto ride. And I think the Encanto ride ends up being the last thing that's ready, because that's probably going to be the most immersive and most time-consuming part of the whole build. Because it is a show house plus a ride. So, lots going to be going on there. So, last but not least, let's talk about what's coming to Magic Kingdom. So, Magic Kingdom did get quite a few announcements. The first of which is going to be the Pirates Bar over at Pirates of the Caribbean. And let me go over to the concept screen here. There we go. So, Pirates Bar over at Pirates of the Caribbean. Lots of things that we can pull out of this. They're going to have a bunch of family style tables, it looks like. You get a big anchor with the candles on it. There's just a lot going on in this picture, whether it's the cannons, whether it's there's another maybe seating area in behind there. There's just a lot that's going on. This is something that they said will be open some point next year. So, going to be really cool. I don't know if it's going to be a full experience like Oga's. But that would be really cool to have like an Oga's type experience with Pirates theming. So, as soon as we get more details on that, we will let you know. The other kind of like non-park altering announcement that we got for Magic Kingdom was the Starlight Parade concept. And this is artwork for the Starlight Parade. Got the Blue Fairy, Peter Pan and Wendy, Elsa, and the way that they kind of described this, it reminded me of some of the parades that they have overseas that utilize that LED technology. Think like Paint the Night on steroids. And I think that's what we're going to have coming as far as this parade goes. Now, other things that we've seen since D23 are some higher quality. That's the same image. Why did I pull that one? There we go. Some higher quality images of some of the floats. Here is an Encanto float with Mirabelle, Isabella, and Bruno, with the magic candle and the butterflies and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is going to be really, really cool. What Disney has done really well on new parades is how intricate the show floats are. You know, we saw Disney Stars on parade when we were over in Paris last year. We saw Magic Happens parade at Disneyland this year, and the scale and level of those floats is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And I would imagine that we're going to see some more of that scale when it comes to this parade and this show. I think this is going to be really, really cool. Said 2025, but no exact opening date. Here's a little bit better on the Elsa float. More kind of like the Frozen 2 Elsa, Peter Pan and Wendy, and then there's the Blue Fairy again. Alright, so now let's get into the big announcements for Magic Kingdom. And the first one is going to be Cars Land. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about Cars Land before I show you this concept art, because I still think that Disney missed and will miss with the addition of this land where they are putting it. I feel like this fits a lot better in Hollywood Studios. I think Encanto fits that area that they're building over there, but would have fit much better beyond Big Thunder Mountain. I think time frame wise, it fits much better in Magic Kingdom and gives another one of those Disney princess, we won't call Mirabelle princess by any means, but Disney princess movies and IP in the park that it should be in. So I feel like things are in the wrong spot, and they're kind of smashing ideas together and then kind of throwing them places right now. It feels a little bit like Harmonious did, honestly. So Cars Land is coming to Magic Kingdom, and this is going to be a very, very different Cars Land than you're used to. If you know the one in Disneyland, California, this is going to be very, very different than what we got out there. So let's go over to the concept screen here. And this is what they are proposing this Cars Land to look like at Magic Kingdom. Now, a couple things I want to point out, and I'm gonna move right to it. There's Big Thunder Mountain, and there is Bayou Adventure. Okay? And there's actually a new building there. But this puts the Cars area smack where the Liberty Bell would be. And this actually is the building for the Liberty Bell. Right here. Okay? Rivers of America, Liberty Bell building. Okay? So it looks like they just took a current drawing of Frontierland and Liberty Square and slapped Cars Land right on top of it. Okay, so this would actually be going back to the Haunted Mansion right here. So you'd be walking across towards Tom Sawyer Island, across Tom Sawyer Island, and over to Big Thunder Mountain. Now, one thing that a lot of people have pointed out is there's water here. And could this be a sign that in some form the Rivers of America is going to live on? Who knows? But let's get into Cars Land itself. And this Cars Land, like I said, a lot different. Has a very rugged Mountain West type feel. We have a kid-friendly ride that's going to be going into this building here. You've got a chance to get your picture with the Piston Cup here. Looks like you've got McQueen and Mater there. And then you have the Cars Radiator Springs rally race here. So looks like they're going to go up and around a mountain and going through a hangar and across a bridge, and it looks like they get airborne and they're kicking up dust and all kinds of fun things that will never happen when the ride actually opens. But they do have it in the concept art, so there is that. And there is quite a bit. If you look at kind of where this goes, it looks like it starts here. So your load house would be here probably, and it starts here, and it winds around across the bridge, down in under, at some point, down in under, around here, around the back side of the mountain. Looks like it goes down the mountain there, and then over here is a finish line. So I would say it's probably going to be comparable to the ride over at Disneyland as far as ride length. So you're probably looking a 2 to 3 minute ride for that 2 hour line you're going to stand in. And then past that, there's not a whole lot else in the way of places that they can put buildings. You know, you're probably going to have a gift shop part of there. You're probably going to have a secondary gift shop somewhere, either on the side of this building or maybe in this area over here, depending if it's part of the ride or not. Like I said, that is a new building there, I believe. I don't think that's the entrance into Tiana's there. I think that would be closer. That might be. So you don't have a lot more space to add more buildings in. But there is water that kind of works through here, because there's water here, there's water there. So there might be a little stream that runs through this area as well. So Rivers of America in some form or fashion might continue. But then off of this area, you're going to have the last and final announcement, which we thought was coming, but they waited until basically the very end of the show to tell it. And that is the addition of Villains Land. And here is the Villains concept art. And this art is absolutely amazing. So Villains Land. Now I have no bearing on where to even start here. So what I would imagine is this would be the path from in front of Haunted Mansion, working its way into the land that will be kind of out past and beyond Tom Sawyer Island. So if you're riding the Liberty Bell, and right as you make that turn coming back towards the launch station, I think this land is going to be to your left, and kind of left of Haunted Mansion and working its way around the backside of the park. So we've got Maleficent's castle up overhead. We've got Diablo here on a branch, and if you look in the branches, there's another path here. But really what my eyes got drawn to in this concept were three things. First off, you've got Maleficent's dragon here, and that's pretty cool. But when you look at Maleficent's dragon, you look up into the left of that, and there's a roller coaster train on a thorn track there. Okay. Now, what you also will find is there's more vines that look like track in there. And last but not least, if you look down in under the land, there's another roller coaster right there. So I feel like this is going to be Disney's attempt to break into that 13 to 19-year-old market. And really leave the little kids behind. And I've talked a little bit about it on Twitter, kind of my thoughts on why Disney is making this strategic move away from younger kids and into an older demographic. But I feel like this land really starts to cement that thought process. So in the announcement, they said we're getting 2 rides out of this, whether it's going to be 2 coasters, because these do look like relatively different coasters. But they could be the same coaster in different parts of the concept. Depending on how large the land is, they could have one coaster that goes all the way through the land. I would imagine that they're going to have a dark ride here. I mean, it's a villains area. You need to have a dark something here. I would imagine it's going to be a dark ride, a slow-moving ride, another Haunted Mansion-esque ride, but probably a lot higher tech than that. I would imagine you're going to get at least 1 to 2 dining options, with one of them being a high-end dining option, maybe a character meal. Yeah, I think they've got a lot that they can play with on this. I mean, they've got a whole catalog of villains. I mean, every Disney movie has a villain, and when Not So Scary Time comes around, they've got a great place to kind of expand on that. So a lot of neat things that they can do with this land. I don't know that it fits in Magic Kingdom. And I think that's my biggest problem with all the announcements. I think all the announcements on their own merit are super cool, and I'm super excited about them. But when you combine them with where they're going and what could possibly be lost because they're going in those areas, I don't know that they're going to accomplish near what they want to accomplish with these announcements because of that. If they would have if they move the Cars concept and the Villains Land to undeveloped areas of Magic Kingdom and leave Rivers of America and leave Tom Sawyer Island, I think it's a different thing, even though I still think Cars Land does not fit in Magic Kingdom. I don't think Villains Land fits in Magic Kingdom, but they're going to do what they're going to do. Don't give me that face. My wife's over here giving me a face.
How do villains not fit in Magic Kingdom?
Villains should have their own park.
Hey, Daddy. Not every Disney movie has a villain. Not Inside Out doesn't have a villain. Not Inside Out.
Does Inside Out... Bing Bong's the villain in Inside Out.
Bing Bong is the... Bing Bong is the best character, not the villain. Okay, Daddy, you need to watch Inside Out more.
I need to watch Inside Out again. That's the consensus from my son, that Bing Bong is not the villain in Inside Out.
Because he's not.
All right, guys. What are you most excited about seeing in the new ideas? I think when I look at Walt Disney World and what Walt Disney World is getting. I think the Monsters Inc. Doors coaster that's probably my number one, is the Monsters Inc. Doors coaster. And then I think the Starlight Parade is actually my number two. But I will leave you with this, because I don't think Disney's done yet. I think there were some things that were relatively easy ads that they're not doing, that we might get at D23 when it's at Brazil later this year. Now, one thing I just remembered that I forgot is the Zootopia show at the Tree of Life, and that is opening next year as well. So where It's Tough to Be a Bug was Zootopia's getting a show, and that's going to open in the winter of next year. So winter of 2025 for that. But past that, I mean, Animal Kingdom getting a whole new land. They are reconstructing Dino Land into the tropical Americas. Hollywood Studios, Monsters Inc. area, it's going to be cool until we figure out where it goes. Epcot kind of got the shaft, but Epcot's been under construction for about the last 6 years, so I think it'll go okay without having construction for a little while. Magic Kingdom, you're probably looking at a good 5 years of construction. I bet you we don't see the completion of Villains Land until 2030. So if you're super excited to go and see Villains Land, I will book you a trip in 5 years. Because I like I said, I don't think that is even close to opening for 5 years. So that's everything that we've got over at Walt Disney World. Now, next week, what we're going to do is we are going to focus on all the things that are coming to Disneyland. Disneyland has their 70th next year, so they did announce quite a few things that are coming to Disneyland. The week after that, so the first week of September, we are going to talk about things that are coming to Disney Cruise Line and Disney Worldwide. We'll probably rewatch that video, talk a little bit more about what they're bringing to Disney Cruise Line and the new ships. And I said it plural, and it's going to be ships on top of ships on top of ships here real soon. That they're bringing the Disney Cruise Lines as well. So a lot of cool things happening there as well. So thank you guys all for watching, liking, subscribing, everything that you've done tonight. T-Mac, thanks for the subscription tonight. Pause No Tone, thanks for dropping in. Haven't heard from you in a while. And thank you guys all for watching. Join us next week as we talk about D23 and the announcements made for Disneyland Park. Guys, all have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday. Bye now. Hey, we didn't have any guests tonight. I talked about D23 announcements for Walt Disney World and got through the news in 15 minutes or less. It was a good show. Check it out. On social media, you can find us in a lot of different places. The easiest is going to be over on Facebook at DPI Podcast for the podcast, at PATM Disney Travel for the travel side. If you want to get into a conversation, an argument, whatever, come over to X at Disney Insights, and you can also find us on Instagram and YouTube. Check us out. Thank you guys all for watching, streaming, liking, sharing, subscribing, everything that you guys do for the channel. We might play some more Lorcana on Sunday.